Hi, fellow traders. What a day. That's all I can say is what a day. And we'll get into that here in a few when I do my recap. But before we get into that, I want to thank you guys for sticking with me throughout this year. You know, we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary for Average Joe Trading. You know, one Friday after a phone call, I found myself without a trading community. And after sitting on my deck for about an hour, you know, obviously drinking a beer and smoking a cigar, everything that all of the traders I built relationships with throughout the years just kept popping in my head. You know, that you need to start your own community. You need to not be where you're at. You know, if you build it, we will come. And so in the course of one weekend, you know, I had Average Joe Trading up and running. And within the first week, I had over 100 members. And it was the most amazing feeling in the world. Something that I've never experienced and that I would never, ever forget. So all of you guys that have been with me this year, that are sticking with me through the next year, you know, I appreciate everything that you've done, all the support, you know, that you've given me. So what I'm doing is I'm extending an invitation to you guys that aren't members that want to come in. You know, I have a 747 promotion going next week. You know, it's the first time I've done this. It's 7 days for $7. You could come in, spend a week in the chat room. You know, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have a class. We have live classes. Day trading class on Tuesday. We have an education webinar that covers different subjects on Wednesday, or that's mostly requested by the members. And then on Thursday, we have a swing trading class. And on Sunday morning, we have our swing trading watch list and strategy session, you know, that Sunday morning. So, you know, you join, you get to spend that Sunday with us. You get to spend the whole week in chat. You'll get access to the first classes. We do have an archive. We do the classes live, but I do archive them so you can always go back and watch. You know, I'll give you access to the first classes so you'll get to see, you know, not only how the classes work live, but, you know, you'll see the first class and how it all started. So this is the first time that I've done it. So just come and join and help us, you know, celebrate our 1-year anniversary. So all you need to do is go to averagejoetrader.com. Everything is right there on the first page, the home page, all the information you need to come and join us. And as always, if you have any questions about it, just go ahead and shoot me an email, ed@averagejoetrader.com, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. So we're going to have some giveaways for the members next week as well. Plus, I'm planning a celebration. I was thinking about Vegas, but I went down, you know, to the coast this weekend, and I'm like, this is my home. So I need to plan something here so that if you guys could come, you know, I could, you know, give you a taste of the South and what this is all about. So I am looking to plan something, a celebration, and I'm going to give you more details on it. But it'll be when the weather gets a little bit warmer, you know, so we can enjoy everything that our state has to offer here. All right, so let's get into my day. Well, let me tell you how crazy my day was. Okay, we had my son's school had delayed start. You know, they were out yesterday. They delayed the start. So that puts me taking him to school not at 7:15, but like at 9:15, and to help, to miss the open. So I kind of had in my mind that, hey, I'm gonna miss the open. Don't worry about it. Get your watch list together. Let's come back and let's catch these secondary moves. And but things worked itself out. I rushed, got here, probably 5 minutes right after the open, 6 minutes. And as soon as I got in, I was ready to jump on something. And I logged in and I jumped on AA. Now this was on our watch list. I already had everything planned. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. But I broke one of my golden rules. And it's what I teach everybody, that if you're rushing and you're trying to, and your morning routine is shot, and you're coming into the trading day with your anxiety level higher because you've been rushing, the best thing to do is don't trade, calm down, and then get re-engaged. But it happened to work out for me on the first trade. We got the first move down, didn't get the follow through all the way to 52 that I wanted, and we kind of bounced. But the problem here is I accidentally covered my whole position. And this was a product of me rushing and my anxiety level being up and not really paying attention to my orders. So instead of covering half here, I went ahead and took it all off. So I had to wait until we got a rejection here. So this candle, we had a pullback here that tapped the 9 in the VWAP. This candle opened, pushed up a little bit. Or no, I'm sorry. This candle opened and started to sell back off. And that's when I got in. I got back in this. I should have waited for this candle to close or either make a new low. But, I just, again, that anxiety level was high. I was revved up and ready to go. So I got in and ended up getting nailed here and took a bigger loss than I really anticipated. I was sitting here holding it past this to see if we were going to come up and come back down, which we actually did. We did come back on this next candle, but I had no idea how far this candle was going to go. So I had to cut my losses here. I was beyond, my $300 max loss. So I had to cut it off. I had no choice. And then, all of a sudden it came back down. Well, I wasn't mad because I had to do it. I didn't have any choice in the matter. So as we got back down here, I went ahead and got re-engaged. Like I said, I wasn't mad and shorted. And I had to hold through another bounce here. And this time I was like, okay, you're not going to get me this time. I'm going to let this next candle come down. And if this thing sells back off, I'm going to stay engaged. And I did. Took some off here. Took some off here. And I was looking for like 5150s. And couldn't get it. Then I went to 5175 and couldn't get that. So I ended up taking the rest of it off here. Didn't quite get out of the red on it, because this was a pretty huge hit right here. This was well over $300 from what I could calculate. So, but it was okay. I mean, I was okay with it because I knew what I did wrong, and I was able to gather myself and get my head screwed back on straight and trade like I had some sense. So that was AA. The next trade I took was ALB. And this one, I really thought we were going to roll back over here. This was another one that was on my watch list. Had a strong move down out of the gate. We had a bounce in the recovery. We rolled the 9 down, and I was waiting for a crack below VWAP here. Now, whether I got in here or whether I got in here, I would have gotten in this trade no matter what. But I got in here on the break of VWAP. We had a little bounce, another rejection here at the 9. We never could get any follow through. Never could get this to follow through back down to retest these levels. There was nothing here that should have held it up. But I held on to it, and eventually it stopped me out. This was my risk here was real tight. I think I had like a $70 or $80 stop in place on this. So I let it come up, and as we were coming back again, this is where I made a bad decision. No way should I have shorted in the VWAP. This is not what I do. I think it was just a product of me wanting to get something going here. My swing trades were kind of iffy today. They weren't really working the way I had anticipated, and I was just trying to get something going. And again, we got short, and then I ended up getting stopped out. I kept these tight, and that was that. So I ended up, let's see, on ALB, I ended up, down 164. I think I must have had $70 or $80 stops on both of these, which was smart because, that kept my losses contained. Now, what I'm really messed up on is this SQM. I'll go back to IBM in a minute. I got in this looking for the fade, coming back late, they fade here, because we tried to push up here, made a lower low, lower high. I'm thinking, okay, now we're below. We finally cracked below this 20 here. We're showing some weakness. We're going to, pull back. So I jumped in this, and, not long after I got in, maybe a couple minutes after I got in, the cable guy came, because I'm having, I have trouble with my cable when it rains and stuff, and they're finally sending out somebody. Since they changed over the Spectrum, they've been working with me real good. So, the guy came out, he changed the cable from my house to the pole, and when he poured water on it, he still got some funny stuff. So he had to leave and come back. But by the time he left, it was, right after I got back home with my son, and I'm logging back in everything, and I see that I'm still in this position. I forgot to put my hard stop in. Plain and simple. Just forgot to put the hard stop in. And this thing just ate me alive. So I'm still stuck in this because when I got back, I couldn't get out. There was no liquidity after the bell rang. I couldn't get out the doggone trade. So I'm stuck in it. Down $700 on it. I'm still in it. So this loss hasn't been booked. But what I'm concerned about is this thing gapping up overnight, or gapping up on me in the morning and just cleaning me out. That's what I'm concerned about. But it's, just like I said, today, the way the day started, it just seems like I never really could get back on track. I never could get my head back in the game. I tried it. I thought I did at one time, but I just couldn't get it back. So I'm still stuck in SQM. Now, the only bright spot was this IBM trade that I took on earnings. This is my patented earnings trade that I like to do after market. So again, as soon as we got in, I was watching this. I couldn't get out of SQM, and so I'm watching this, and I hear Benzinga Charlie talking about IBM, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta get. That's what I'm looking for. So I'm watching it, and when earnings, when they reported, this thing made a big push up, and I thought about jumping short up here. But I was like, no, I need to wait until we get back below all of this. And, I could kind of use this as my guide. So, it was washing pretty quick. So I kind of lost about a point on this getting in. But this stock I knew had the potential to drop 7-8 points. And so I got in. And my first target was this level here, 165. So I took some off there. The next target was around 163.50 or so, but I took some off there, and then as it started to recover, I thought we were bouncing here, because normally we take 3 or 4 candles down and then we bounce, and I was looking for the bounce, and we were going to fall back in. So I got in, I got back in chat, early enough to announce what I, let people know what I was looking at. And then we got logged in, early enough for you to see this. But, we worked it, as well as we could. And then once I realized that this wasn't the bottom, I went ahead and got short again, looking for this move through 162.51. And then the next level was, I think, 158 or 157. So we had a nice window to the downside, but I knew at 5 o'clock the conference call was coming, and I didn't want to be sitting in this when the conference call came. So once we started this, this candle pretty much looked like we were going to bounce, and I went ahead and took the rest of it off. I just locked in the profit that I had. And this thing just kind of traded sideways for a while. And then, after the conference call, it started to, recover. So we had a lot of people dip buying here. But that was a nice trade, 348.81. I wish I had taken this in my swing account, because I would have been able to put some size on it. I can only trade it with 100 shares. So, and that's, that's all I used. At 100, scaled out 50, 25, and 25. And then this one was 150 and then 50. But not bad. I mean, this is proof positive that you can make money off of 100 shares. If you understand how the stocks move, have a good idea of what happens and how to manage your position, you can make money with 100 shares. That's how we grew our account from $1,500 up to almost 10. Well, really, it was it 10? I can't remember now, going into January. So, and we started with $1,500 in October. So it can be done, but it has to be done the right way, and you have to develop your skills and your discipline along the way. That's going to be key. So pretty happy with that. I'm still, holding a negative position overnight. This is not what I planned to do. I just couldn't get out of it. There was no way I could get out. And I wasn't going to just throw out something. When I was trying to get out, I was down like $300. I'd have been fine with that. But then all of a sudden, everything got pulled, and I wasn't going to try to get out at $700 loss. I'd rather just wait and see what happens overnight. And if I'm still sitting here when trading resumes, then I'll just have to eat it. I'll go into the weekend with a dent, a chink in the armor. But this is probably going to cause me not to sleep tonight. Because this is not something that I planned for. This is not something that I wanted to do. It's just a product of, me not being there 100% today. So 109.07 is, what's booked today. That's the P&L that's booked in my day trading account. Now, swing trading, SCG, I did take another position in it under the 20, as I had planned, just as we talked about this morning in chat, in the swing chat, that if we establish below the 20, I would take it. We established below it, I took it. We made a little move down. And then when I went back and looked at it at the close, this thing had pulled back on me. So I'm like, well, damn. What do you do? So that one didn't really work out. I probably should have taken it off, but I didn't. I think that, there is a possibility that this can roll over. The only good thing is I was only in 500 shares. And, I think that's going to help me give us a little bit more room to see if we can fade this tomorrow. I mean, even if we get another little dip and we start to get bought back up, I'm just going to take it off. Because I'm worried about this. I don't want to hold it over the weekend. I really don't. Especially this SCG, because, there is a deal on deck. And once some approvals get handed down, that's going to make this stock move. And I don't want to be caught in that. So that's why I'm keeping this close to my vest. So the other one we talked about this morning was AAOI. And, I said we would get in if it established below yesterday. So yesterday was a big indecision candle. And the candles prior to that, were selling off. We were looking weak. So I was looking to get in and, take half of it off. Get in full size, which is 1,000 shares. Take half off at this 32.66. This level here. And then let the rest go. When I looked at this thing around lunchtime, I was like, oh my gosh, something is not right here. This thing had gone all the way up to, over 34.50 and was pulling back. And so I was like, well, let me change this. I'm going to put it at 33 and then put my final target down here at 32.66. So, this would be a nice all-day hold, which is another thing I like to do in swings. I like to hold them all day and just lock in the profit in the evening. But this one it really confused me. It didn't really trade the way I wanted it to. So I put my final target down here at 32.65 and we ended up hitting it. So was pretty pleased with that. I was okay with that. 873 for, an all-day hold, that's not bad. So, I'm still in SCG, still holding it, and still holding car. I don't know what the hell's going on with this. We're just kind of trading sideways, but we're making, higher lows here. We didn't make a higher high today, but we're just kind of trading sideways. And the only thing that's really keeping me going is this 20 is still, running up, which is telling me that we do have some strength here. Even though the volume went away and we've had some selling volume here, I still think we have some buyers on tap. But again, this one I may not hold over the weekend. Just depend on what I see tomorrow. Under a close under this, I'm out. Close under this 20, I'll just have to take the hit. Just as simple as that. But we'll talk more about that in the morning, when we start going over our swing watch list and kind of set our strategy for the day. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So that was it. It's a crazy day. Like I said, it was chopped up. Just crazy. The swing trades didn't work out really the way I had wanted them to, or the plan I had for them. The day trades didn't do well either. Let's see, all together, we booked 969.20, which isn't bad, but I'm just not happy with my performance. I'm not happy with the way, I executed. And it's almost like a coach. When you're a football coach, a basketball coach, or any coach, when they win the game, but he's not happy with how his team executed. And that's the way it is with me. I won the day, but I'm not happy with how I executed. So I'm going to be, kind of focusing on that and trying to get my game back going to the next level. All right, so that's going to do it for me. Remember, guys, if you want to hang out with us next week, do the 7 for 7 deal. Come check out the classes and see what we're really about. You get to see all of these trades happen live as they happen. SQM was one. You got to see my entry, but we were down through all of this, which is why I left my thing going. But unless we have some technical difficulties, you see the trades happen. You may, sometimes I do accidentally leave the mic on, and you may hear me beating on my chair a little bit. But, it's what happens every day. It's the life of a day trader. So, come and join us and see what it's all about. So you guys have a great night, a great evening, and I will see you first thing tomorrow in chat.